Hey everyone, here we are. It's time for a video. I hope you guys are doing great out there, and thank you so much to all my new subscribers and for all the comments you all have left me. Now we're going to work on these two busts that I picked up, and I think I paid $3 a piece for them. I thought that we would turn these into something more my style. Now they have this adorable blue floral type motif going on, and I do like that, but I really wanted to give them more of a dark and moody style. Now I've had these for my stash in a while, and I was really thinking about decoupaging on these because it looks like that's what they have on them. But I decided against that because I didn't really have the type of paper that I wanted. I had plenty of the style that I wanted, but it was just too thick. So we're going to go ahead and give these a good coat of the Waverly Ink chalk paint. Now we have two coats of the Waverly chalk paint and ink on these, and I'm just mixing up some acrylic paint in Apple Barrel, Marshmallow, and Warm Buff. We're going to use some of these stencils. I purchased these off of Amazon, so I will have the link in the description box below if you would like to purchase them. I like these two stencils that I'm going to be using because they have some French text on them, and I'm just piecing the text together to make it look how I want on the busts. Now I do want to remind everyone that I do cut out a lot of these videos so that you don't have to see repetitive techniques for the same items or duplicate items or things that I show a little bit of and then I cut out the longer parts. You all remember that you can slow down these videos because I do speed them up as well for a faster video for you all, and you can slow them down in the settings in the bottom right corner on the video. If you ever have any questions about something that maybe I cut out that you are interested in, don't hesitate to comment below, and I always read all of the comments. And again, I want to thank everyone for all of your comments, your likes. It really helps boost this channel. And again, thank you to all of my new subscribers and the subscribers that have been here since I started. Now I'm just stenciling a 1 and a 2 on these with some more of the stenciling on the bottom below the 1 and the 2. I really want these to have an industrial vibe with some dark and moody sort of French going on with them. I don't know, it was a combination that I really liked, and I just kept trying to figure out how I wanted them. I wanted to put a lot more stenciling on them or stamping, and I held back because I knew that I was going to make a couple pieces of medals to put on them and some crowns. Now the crowns and the medals coming up are definitely removable, and I do show you the photos in the end of the video, so stay tuned for the photos for all of the items that we make at the end of the video. And I show you how they look with and without the medals that I made for them and the crowns. Now we're going to go ahead and finish up the stenciling on these. Again, that was with the Warm Buff and the Marshmallow in Apple Barrel Paints. And I do want to let you know all of the products that I'm using in this video will be listed below, including the stencil brushes, the stencils, the paints, even the wax papers that I'm using on here that I love to use. The big, I buy those in a huge bundle, and you can get those and use them in your kitchen for baking. And then they're also great because you can use them in your craft studio or your art room to paint on, and the paint just wipes right off of them. So I use them a lot, you'll see in this video and other videos. The little white pieces that I'm using, those came from a house that we cleaned out, and there was stacks and stacks of them, and they're like little wax papers. I'll see if I can find something similar on Amazon, but the ones I'm referring to are like the brown baking sheets. Okay, so here I'm just using that paint color, and I painted the bottoms and the tops of the wood, and then I'm wet distressing back off of them to my liking. You can wet distress or not, or you can also use sandpaper, which I did try that too. Now I'm going back over all of the stenciling with the sandpaper just to give it a little bit of distress and distress some of that black back through, and I'm wiping as I'm going. And I'm not using a lot of wet because I don't want the paint to blend in together. And I just do this until I get it how I want it to look. I also use a heat gun in between to dry some of the layers. I do this a lot throughout my videos that you don't see. I will also link heat guns below that I use. I have a drying tool and a heat gun. The heat gun that I'm using now is an embossing, more of a focused, and I also have just a drying tool. The last step that we're going to do on these is I'm going to use this brown wax. It's more of an antiquing wax, and that's the name of it. I bought a set of these off of Amazon. Again, I'll have those linked below. I've had these for a while in my stash. I do have the DIY waxes and I love them, but I also have this set. You can get these in 18 different colors, and this is the antiquing color. I have the antique, the gray or driftwood, black, white, and clear in this. These waxes have more of a almost like a Vaseline finish, but they dry with a matte finish, or more like a satin finish. The directions are on them when you buy them. They look like they are made by an individual company. So I looked them up and I really like the looks of them, and I've got them and I'm trying them. And I've had them for a while, like I said, and I like them. So for the price, they're definitely well worth it, especially if you're just starting out. I bought these when I was just starting out to try waxes. These are more waxes that you can use pretty much on anything, especially furniture. So again, all this goes below, and they do come in 18 different colors. Hopefully they are still there because, like I said, I've had them for a little while. I love how the brown wax on this, or the antique wax, give it an even more aged look, especially on that black chalk paint. Here is a side-by-side comparison. The one on the right is the one that's waxed, and the one on the left is not waxed. We're going to be making crowns for these, and I purchased some of the metal ribbon from Dollar Tree last year, and I decided that I was going to use one of these pieces here, or these types of metal. The one that looked like the crown most to me has these metal leaves, and that's the one we're going to use. I'm going to use this paint bottle to kind of wrap it around to get the size that I initially want to start with for my crown, and just cut it with some trimmers. You can probably use scissors too. A beautiful disaster. Now that I have this trimmed down to the size that I want, I'm going to use this black flexible wire. I'm not sure what the gauge is. I've had this for a while. I just know it bends very easily. I'm going to take 3 pieces and loop one on each end and one in the center to keep my strips of metal together. I'm offsetting the metal leaves at the top to make the crown look more fuller. And again, to do 2 strips, again, to make it look more fuller. So I'm putting these through a hole, each hole, and into the shape of a U, and then twisting the U together at the back to make the twist, and then flattening it down. It's very simple. It's not anything technical. You're not going to notice the color of the wire. You're not going to notice hardly anything because it's all going to be on the inside, and we're going to paint these. I'm sure there's many ways that you could attach this crown or these pieces of metal together, and you use whatever way that you know how, or technique that you know how, that best fits you. This was just the easiest for me with the supplies that I had. You will notice that I keep taking the crown and placing it back on top of the bust, just to see if it is the correct size that I want and how it's going to lay on there. So I end up cutting more of the length off to make the crown smaller in diameter because it was too large. I didn't like the way that it looked. So that, again, is going to be something else that's going to be a personal preference of what size you want your crown. Once I get the size of my crown how I want it and get it wired together, we're going to paint this. We're going to use several different colors of paint to get the color that I want. I'm going to start out with a dark umber color as the base of my crown, and I'm going to add some gold, metallic, and then some brown metallic to it throughout. I end up doing both of these crowns in the same color, but I'll show you here shortly that I do change one of them, and I'm so glad I did. So like I said, we're just going to stipple this I think it's burnt umber. I'm pretty sure it's in apple barrel. If not, there's also burnt umber in most of the other brands that are out there. You can definitely use just a chocolate color in general. It doesn't have to be specifically burnt umber. I will try to link similar products below that you can just click on and purchase them off of Amazon if you choose. Once I get my burnt umber on, it's not dry. I just go ahead and start adding that gold right on top of it. Now, you can use 2 or 3 different colors of gold. This is an antique gold, there's bright gold, there's just different colors of gold. And I'm using this to give it a little bit more of an aged look other than just the brown as the base. These colors are blending together to kind of make their own color and still leaving some of the original colors on the crown as well. Now that we have a couple layers of paint, I'm going to go ahead and start drying this, because what I want to do next is I want to add some highlight to this color. This is my undertones. This is setting the pace for what my crown is going to look like. It's going to give it that aged look. So I'm going to get this dry, not all the way dry, but mostly a pretty good dry. That way it's not mixing completely in. Now I'm taking what I had left of that marshmallow and warm buff in the apple barrel, and I'm stippling this on top of these colors. To add an additional highlight, you can use a white chalk paint, you can use a white acrylic paint. I'm going to go ahead and use this sheepskin. It's a little off-white. I really didn't want a total bright white on here, so I'm using this with just a tiny brush to go around and hit some tops and bottoms of the areas and sort of in between to highlight this crown. Once I finish adding this, I'm going to go right back in with some of the antique gold on top of this sheepskin to make that gold pop a little bit more and to be just a tad brighter than the original that we mixed in with the burnt umber. You'll see, it turns out looking just so dimensional and so many layers. I just really enjoyed how this turned out. I hope you do too. Let me know in the comments below. So far, what are you thinking of this project? Is it a lot of work? Is it something you would enjoy doing? Let me know in the comments below. We're adding some more metallic paint to this in the chocolate color. I'm not sure the specific name. I will have it linked below, or at least the name of it, so that you guys can see what it is. Our crowns are finished and ready to be put on our projects. So we're going to put them to the side, and we're going to start making some jewelry pieces to go on these. And they're just going to hang off of them. They're not going to be completely attached to them. I'm going to start out with some jewelry that I no longer wear or that was given to me, necklaces, and some of them were already short, so if they weren't short enough, I just shortened them by tying a knot in the chain and drooping it down the back, or cutting it off and relatching it. Now, I'm not making any tutorials on jewelry and how to add jewelry, but I just wanted to show you some clips of me doing this to kind of let you know that you can do this easily yourself at home. I have some of these products left over from many years of collecting and using for different items, so I thought I would use it on these busts. These busts were a Pinterest inspired project. So go on Pinterest and check out the mannequin busts and see some of the inspiration on there that I got to make my own. Now I'm using a necklace here that is too long, and all I did was tie a knot in it and let it drop down the back, and that made it short enough for the front. And since I'm using necklaces as a base, I'm just adding charms that I want on them, so that I really am not having to do too much. I'm just adding charms to them. Here's is where we alter one of the crowns, because what I ended up doing was I used some gold, mostly gold, antique gold looking mix on the #1. I think it's the #1. No, it's the #2 bust. And then on this #1 bust, most of it was some grays and silvers with some antique gold. So what I did was I got out a couple of my gray antiquing waxes. One is ash and old silver, and then I get some soot out. Now these are Finnabair by PRIMA. I will again have these in the link below for you guys. These are really easy, and it altered this crown. I didn't have to paint it or anything. It just added some silver and a gray tone to this with a little bit of dark, not quite black. You'll see when I get the soot out, it's more of a black, but it didn't really make the crown look black. I really ended up liking how this looked, and it matched this necklace that I made for this one better, and then gave the crowns different looks, because I really didn't want two identical busts. I mean, they do look a lot alike, but as you'll see, they do end up looking different in the end. Here is a sneak peek of what they look like. What do you all think? These are going in my new studio. I am so excited, you all, and I will explain what some of the charms on each bust mean to me. All right, now on to the next project. I had these two medallions in my stash. They're like a plaster, chalkware, I don't know. And I just wanted to make one into just a little thing I could set around. So I saw which one fit on this I Just Love Carbs sign that I picked up. I think I paid $1 for it, maybe $2, just to use the base for something because it was trimmed in wood. I'm giving both of these pieces 2 coats of the sheepskin chalk paint, and then we're going to do some black wax on these, and it was so fun. I did start out with some white wax, as you'll see coming up. These were pretty simple, so I'm not taking a lot of time to explain anything. But like I said, I'm using white wax all over both pieces because I'm going to dark wax them with the black wax, and I don't want it to completely overshadow both of these both of these pieces. So you'll see as I put the black wax on, it does kind of take it over, and I do end up having to go back in with some black or white wax to pull some of it back off. So right here you'll see that I had pulled a lot of the black wax off, and I just didn't want that much left on it. So I go back in with some white wax on top, and again start rubbing and pulling. I'm doing the same thing with this the base of it. See how it just pulls that black wax back off? Sometimes you do end up losing a lot of product like this, but honestly it's a trial and error. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could start out with not using as much black wax, which I thought I was doing, but if you do this, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not that you're just trying to waste the wax. You're trying to get a certain look, and sometimes that means losing some product that you really didn't want to lose because it's not, you know, super cheap. So. Now we're going to attach our pieces together, and we're going to use some Titebond, just wood glue, and some really high temp hot glue. And let me tell you, it sticks almost immediately and does not move. So the hot glue is doing its job for now, and when the wood glue dries, it will do its job. Now that I have these two pieces married together, we're going to wax a little bit more to make them look a little bit more cohesive. What I did was just go around with white wax on the edges and of the medallion, and now I am doing like a vignette highlight around the piece with the dark wax. And again, just rubbing it right back off until I get the look that I want. I don't know. I think we all have our own eye of what looks right to us. And once you get there, you know. It may not look that way to someone else, but if it's for you in your place, that's all that matters. Now, our next project is this single candle labra stick, whatever you want to call it, candle holder. We're going to be using this gray paint. I'm thinking it is at the end of its life because it's almost like clay. It is my Waverly Elephant in gray, and I'm just putting a coat on this candlestick. I think I end up putting just one coat. I don't even think I need two coats. It is so thick that I'm using my water bottle here to just spray the paint and make it thinner to be able to go on this candlestick. The plan is to white wax this and then pull some of the white wax back off with a wet rag while we are showing some of the underneath, which is like a old antique brown look, tan, I don't know. I really like how the white wax turns the gray into this beautiful color, and it looked great like it was, and could have been a piece that I would have wanted to keep the way it was, but to match and kind of go in with this whole vignette that I have going, I want some of that brown to come back through and the gold look and give it a little bit of an antique look. So that's why we end up getting wet distressing all the way back through to some of the base of this candle holder. Our last project is this little beige, tan, cream, I don't know, bird cage that I thrifted a while back, and I'm just dry brushing some of this elephant gray on it, and then we're going to add some of it to the inside as well, leaving a lot of that cream showing. We're going to white wax on top of it, and that's all we're going to do this piece, and it turns out looking so great and matching a lot of our items that we just made for our vignette. What do you all think of this one? I hope you all have enjoyed these 5 thrift flips that we are going to be using some of them in the new studio. If you have enjoyed these, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, let me know so I can continue creating content for you all. It is something I love to do and I love to share, so if you would, please let me know in the comments below. And now let's get on to these photos. Here are the busts that we created, or mannequin, whatever you want to call them. 1 and 2, with and without their crowns and jewelry. Here is the candelabra or stick. I really do love how that turned out. Here is our little medallion sign. Not sure what to call that one. Here's our bird cage. And here is all of our pieces together. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I said, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, and comment below which was your favorite. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.